To facilitate evacuation, we ask you to keep corridors and common areas clear during the event. The assembly point is outside the building. Thank you for your attention, and we hope you enjoy the event. Mesdames et messieurs, votre attention s'il vous plaît. Nous vous souhaitons la bienvenue au siège de l'UNESCO. Pour le bon déroulement de cette manifestation, mais aussi votre sécurité, merci de prêter attention aux consignes suivantes. Si une évacuation générale est nécessaire, vous en serez averti par une sirène d'alarme associée à un message d'alerte. Vous devrez quitter la salle dans le calme par les sorties de secours situées de chaque côté de la scène et derrière vous. Afin de faciliter cette évacuation, nous vous demandons de ne pas encombrer les couloirs et les zones de circulation pendant cette manifestation. Le point de rassemblement se trouve à l'extérieur du bâtiment. Nous vous remercions de votre attention et vous souhaitons une belle manifestation.
Let me burn to ground. I have a I'm not a man no more. You set me up on a pedestal.
Good evening to all. It's 1967, and Aretha Franklin's song became the feminist movement's hymn. A strongly symbolic song, Respect. This message was carrying the aspirations of generations of women who were fighting together for equality. These women were the heirs of other women, other struggles. Struggles for a full and a fulfilled citizenship, for emancipation through studies or through work, engagements that are still resounding today and particularly here tonight. Respect, Ms. Aretha Franklin, and respect to all those who follow after. Welcome to all. I'm delighted here to be with you again tonight for this 26th edition of the award-winning International L'Oréal UNESCO for Women in Science ceremony. For more than 26 years, the Fondation L'Oréal and UNESCO have been working to promote women in science through this program, and it is with great joy that we ask you to be here tonight with us to celebrate these exceptional women. Obviously, feel free to use and to abuse your social networks this evening and the days to come throughout the whole year so that our ceremony and the women that we are going to be giving awards to tonight will be able to be seen throughout the world. You have the hashtags here for Women in Science and FWIS 2024. We're counting on you. 30 years ago, there were only 25% of women scientists in the world. Today, there are 33%. That's an increase of 8% in 30 years. Perhaps that's an improvement, you might say. I don't know. Maybe not. Particularly when the national scientific academies only have 12% of women actually studying there. We must continue. We must double our efforts collectively and individually. All the more reason to celebrate and to showcase those today who are excelling in order to encourage vocations for tomorrow. You're going to be discovering 5 women tonight, 5 remarkable scientists in the areas of life and environmental sciences, the great challenges that we are all collectively confronted with today. They are the heirs of the generation of women.
Have more freedom. It's because their mothers fought, because their grandmothers fought. Women of all generations fought. They marched in the streets when they were asked to remain in their homes. They spoke up when they were silenced. They studied when they were banned from reading. They mastered the fields they were excluded from. They made groundbreaking discoveries when their research was not valued. And they won. Rights, power, excellence, honors. They fought and they won. But we can't stop here. We all must fight. We can't stop. Because the world needs women's knowledge, talent, and perseverance. Their life-saving discoveries. For the last 26 years, the Fondation L'Oréal and UNESCO stand by the side of women who have been advancing knowledge. We have supported women who devoted their lives to science. We have celebrated them so that they receive the honors they deserve. We shed the light on their achievements so that they can build the future and lead for the better. Women scientists can't stop because they solve the biggest challenges of our times. Women scientists can't stop fighting. And by their side, we will be standing.
Yes, our rights have improved. Women have fought, they have won victories, but those newly opened spaces can close oh so quickly if we don't take care of them, if we are not careful. This is unfortunately something we see every day. So these struggles are continuing everywhere on a day-to-day basis. And our laureates this evening, as all laureates in the history of the program for women in science, they are the ones that bear witness to this. You will discover that tonight. This program would not be possible without the historic and extremely strong partnership that exists between L'Oréal and UNESCO. To officially open this 26th edition, let us welcome the General Director of UNESCO and the President, the Chairman of L'Oréal and the Fondation L'Oréal, Madame Audrey Azoulay and Monsieur Jean-Paul Agon.
Général, Monsieur le Président.
Merci beaucoup.
Thank you very much, welcome to all Chairman, CEO of the L'Oréal Group, members of the jury. I would particularly like to welcome the chair of the jury, chère Brigitte Kiefer, and all of those who have come from the world over and made the choice of being here with us tonight. Dear laureates, ladies and gentlemen, it's an immense joy for me to welcome you here in the UNESCO House. Since last year, when we were together, the world has gone through many upheavals. It has become much more fragmented, much more difficult, much less inclined to opt for international cooperation, which is so necessary when we are confronted with the challenges in the world today. But in this context, here, you are in UNESCO. You are in a house which is one of the rare spaces where dialogue and international action still thrives, built around a remarkable mandate that was given to us after the trauma of the Second World War, that of working for peace through education, information, culture, and science. This space for dialogue and action here in UNESCO has been strengthened since our latest edition last summer with the welcome return of the United States in our organization, an excellent piece of news. And today we have 149 member states who are working here together and who find consensus on some of the more sensitive issues, sometimes issues concerning the world of science. I'm talking about open science or the ethics of artificial intelligence. Scientists know that their work is a worldwide engagement. The scientists are here to shoulder the challenges of our times, to promote the cultural information to all populations. And we can see this in many of the things that we do here in UNESCO. But this universality of science is still incomplete. There are there are very few women today still in the scientific world. They are vastly underrepresented. 1/3 of scientists are only women scientists, and there are only 10% of those working in the field of artificial intelligence, whereas we know that that technology is thriving today and becoming more and more important all across the globe.
As this ceremony will show, there is also good reason for us to have hope. Hope because inequalities are shrinking, first of all, even if slowly. Hope because many countries, especially in Africa, are making scientific education for girls a crucial tool in the fight against inequalities. Hope because the work of women in science is being increasingly recognized, not only here, for now more than 25 years, but also by other international awards like the Nobel Prize, and with good reason. Since the creation of our prize in 1998, 6 of the 15 women who have received the Nobel Prize previously won a L'Oréal UNESCO International Award. This is to tell you again how much the work that the jury is doing is important. And hope, because exceptional women researchers are also dedicating their work to finding solutions for growing global challenges. Not only in the environmental and life science, and I'm here thinking of you, dear laureates, we will see your work tonight, but also to acknowledge women researchers in mathematics and computer science, disciplines that we highlight every other year. And hope, finally, thanks to the work that we've been doing alongside L'Oréal for the last 26 years, a very pioneer work indeed. And I would like to thank in particular you, Jean-Paul Agon, chairman of the group and president of the foundation, as well as the group CEO, Nicolas Hieronymus, for working for so many years for this partnership and always being so committed and I know in convergence with the things you believe in. I would like to also acknowledge the teams of L'Oréal. Some of them are in the room today. the shareholders for their trust and for your global success, as it is a source of pride. And I'm very touched by how you put this success at the service of the greater good in resonance with the aspiration and raison d'être of both our organizations. Thank you. For the last 26 years, we've been encouraging girls to become scientists from an early age, thanks to the work we do as well in schools across the world, but also by offering them the fantastic role models that you will see tonight, and giving them recognition and visibility, promoting, explaining their work, getting their work known across the globe, telling their fantastic journey and accomplishment, so that also the young women scientists, the researchers of today and tomorrow, can take the place they deserve. And I would like to conclude by the words of someone whose name made it through history, Marie Skłodowska-Curie, who passed away 19 years ago. She said, and I quote, "Such is the beauty and nobility of science, the endless wish to push back the frontiers of knowledge, to track down the secrets of matter and of life, without any preconceived ideas of the possible consequences. And it is up to us to ensure that nobody is prevented from living this great scientific adventure and that as many people as possible benefit from it." I thank you all for your presence. Thank you.
Director General of UNESCO, dear Audrey Azoulay, Excellencies, the Chairman of the International Jury, members of the jury, dear laureates, ladies and gentlemen. I would have so much liked to say that this year parity has been reached. Well, it has been, but in sports. There will indeed, this year at the Olympics in Paris, be as many women as there will be men as athletes. This victory deserves being celebrated because, after all, we share the same cause, equality between women and men. And there are lots of things in common between sports people and high-level scientists, the passion, the rigor, and surpassing of oneself. But where does science stand? Well, unfortunately, science is still an exception. While everywhere else in society, the momentum of feminization is progressing. In science, gender equality is far from being achieved. Each breakthrough in equality holds but by a thread, and the glass ceiling seems so difficult to cross, with so many obstacles to be overcome, so many prejudices to defeat. This observation could discourage us, but no, because we know that our fight for the place of women in science is just and vital. That is why the Fondation L'Oréal is more than ever determined to act in partnership with our precious ally, UNESCO, with whom we militate hand in hand and have been doing so for the last 26 years for the just place of women in science. Madam Director General, dear Audrey Azoulay, I pay tribute to your total commitment and thank you for your unrelenting support by our side. Let us be proud to honor this evening 5 women at the source of spectacular breakthroughs, namely to face up to cancer, infectious diseases, or chronic diseases. Let us be proud that in just one generation, the L'Oréal UNESCO Program for Women in Science, through its immense quality of its international jury that I welcome, has recognized the excellence of 132 women scientists, exceptional women representing all continents at the avant-garde of all disciplines. And let us be proud, as Audrey, you said, that in 2023, 2 of our former laureates, Anne Lhuillienne, Catalina Carrico, received the Nobel Prize, and henceforth there are 6 scientists distinguished by this prize for women in science, having received this prize. One person in particular today must be so proud of defending so well the role of women in science. Dear Alexandre Palt, who's in the middle here. I can't see him because of the light, but I know he's there. We're going to give him a hand. Dear Alexandra, I wish to pay tribute to you this evening, you, the activist at the service of women from the very beginning. At the time when you will be leaving the general manager of the Fondation L'Oréal for New Horizons, it is with a great amount of emotion that I would like to say on behalf of us all, an immense thank you for everything that you have accomplished in this fight against this unbearable disequilibrium. You know that we will continue to carry the flame of the cause of women scientists with ardor and determination. Given we will not be invisible. We will continue to give the laureates a voice, and we will have everybody discover the infinite richness of your trajectory so that every young girl be able to take you as a role model. Given the inequalities, we will continuously take support of the committed community of 4,400 women from 110 countries whom we've supported in their vocation. You're all driven by the desire for transmission and sharing. Given the self-censorship, we will work with the young generations to tell them that nothing is impossible, dispel doubts, and stimulate scientific calling of young girls, to encourage them to follow their instinct and to be those who will continue. Given sexism and violence, we will speak up loudly, sound the warning bells so that the discriminations and abuse be put an end to. We know this is going to be a long fight, but we need all those who are mobilized with us, institutions, public authorities, the academic world, and the scientific world, for a cultural change. And given the urgency, the whole of humanity needs you to accelerate the progress of science and take forward the frontiers of knowledge. Only a plural knowledge will carry hope in the face of the challenges of our century that will not wait. Madam Scientist, we will always be militating by your side for your right to shape science and humanity. Thank you very much.
Merci beaucoup, Madame.
Thank you very much, Director General. Thank you very much, Chairman. May I invite you to take your seats because you will be giving the prizes, the awards. Now, before unveiling the name of our 5 laureates, just a few words about the L'Oréal UNESCO Prize for Women in Science. Every year, we have several hundred nominations coming from the 4 corners of the world. 10 best scientists from each region of the world are assessed by the members of our international jury, which selects 5 laureates, 1 per region. This prize this year is dedicated to life sciences and environmental sciences. Over and beyond the excellence, there was one word, if there was one word to qualify a jury, it would be diversity. A value at the heart of the program for women in science, nationalities, disciplines, institutions of the highest international order, reflects the world in its singularity and its plurality. This jury plays a key role and has been doing so for the last 26 years in the prestige of this program, and these juries have honored 132 laureates since 1998. We're delighted this evening to have the prestigious members of the jury with us this evening. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give them a big applause. And I would like to invite now on stage the president of the jury, Professor Brigitte Kiefer, Director of Research at the INSERM, member of the Academy of Sciences and former laureate for the International Prize L'Oréal UNESCO for Women in Science. Madam, please, may I invite you to join me.
Dear Miss Audrey Azoulay, dear Jean-Paul Agon, dear laureate, dear members of the jury, ladies and gentlemen, it is again an immense pleasure both for the jury and myself, and I think I can talk on behalf of the jury here,
to introduce our 5 international laureates. The 2024 L'Oréal UNESCO International Programme for Women in Science aims to recognize this year exceptional scientists in the area of life and environmental sciences. So just to give a little bit of context, this year's competition started with 400 nominations from 80 countries. 52 candidates were shortlisted by external experts, came to us, and then were extensively discussed one by one by our jury, that I particularly want to thank here for their hard and insightful work and the high collegiality of the group. And yes, as always, the selection process was a true challenge. Our laureates today have multiple faces. The first one being, of course, the scientific excellence of their research, the international outreach of their achievements, and the strong recognition by their peers in the scientific community. But beyond this is also the broader impact of their research in advancing health and well-being in our society, which, needless to say, is one of today's challenges and is important for each of us. Last but not least, another facet is their compelling leadership role in shaping scientific life worldwide, developing research institutes, contributing to public policies, creating vocations, and training the next generation of young scientists. This year's top candidates were mostly biologists, covering diverse fields, including genetics and epigenetics, biochemistry and structural biology, as well as biotechnology, epidemiology, and medicine, with always an obvious and important impact on health and disease. Regarding the program itself, it is expected in the future that maybe more environmental science, which is a growing societal challenge, will be present among candidates and perhaps laureates. Not so much today, so I hope this will develop. Now, on a more personal note, this is the third time I had the great fortune and honor to be president of this jury. And I keep struck session after session by the impressively high number of outstanding nominees, which today shape the landscape of leading women in science. Their visibility is increasing slowly, but steadily, thanks to programs like this one. And this trend will, of course, continue as young girls become more self-assured in their strength. And the glass ceiling, which I have seen all around me again and again throughout my own career, will get thinner. Above all, and this is going to be my last word, these remarkable women are scientists. Science has no borders, no color, no gender, and is, or should be, the best path to progress and peace. Pushing the limits of knowledge requires passion, creative thinking, unfailing dedication, and who better than women and men together can reach this goal for the benefit of us all. Now is their time to share their passion, and the floor is to our laureates. Thank you for your attention.
Merci, Professeur.
Thank you very much, Professor. The time has come now to present to you the 5 2024 laureates who will be awarded tonight. A coincidence this year, these are remarkable women who are researching around public health. This is an existential challenge for humanity. Let's begin straight away with the award for Latin America and the Caribbean with Professor Alicia Kowaltowski.
Metabolism is actually a fascinating process because it's much more than what makes you fatter or thinner. It is the very center of the definition of what a living being is. My name is Alicia Kowaltowski. I'm a professor in the Department of Biochemistry of the University of São Paulo. We're really specialists in mitochondrial bioenergetics. So mitochondria, they're basically the part of the cell that transforms energy and makes molecules that the rest of the cell can use as a source of energy. I like to call them the battery of the cell. I think one of the big contributions of the lab was understanding at a molecular standpoint what molecules change when you have different diets. Willpower doesn't solve obesity. We evolved to like high-calorie foods, and we also evolved to deposit these foods very efficiently because this helped us survive before. We believe, and many other labs believe, that if you understand the molecular mechanisms in which obesity leads to disease, you can control these diseases, and you really can help the outcome of people in general in a much more efficient manner. The fun thing about doing science is that we do it while also training new people to do science. I think that's my proudest achievement, is the former students of the lab, more than any scientific finding that the lab has had. If I have a talent as a scientist, I think it is to choose these amazing students who are curious, intelligent, and hardworking, and also very capable of changing situations, because doing science in Brazil requires a lot of courage and a lot of adaptation. We do have these extra hurdles to go over, but we still manage to do internationally equivalent science, and that's something that I'm very proud of. Definitely the students and the whole staff that works here are really, really talented to manage to do that. My main advice would be follow what really incites your curiosity and what you're passionate about, because the different passions of all the scientists are what makes the scientific endeavor. So we really need people who think differently. Science is never easy because you're answering questions that are at the very limit of knowledge. But it's absolutely a happy place for me. Understanding new processes and answering our questions. I think pursuing your curiosity is one of the most satisfying things a human can do.
Professor Alicia Kowaltowski from Latin America and the Caribbean is biochemist from Brazil. She's awarded for a fundamental contribution to the biology of mitochondria, that are the cell main energy source, acting as their batteries. Her work has been critical in understanding implication of energy metabolism in chronic diseases, such as obesity, diabetes, as well as aging. Her outstanding contribution as an investigator and mentor, and her advocacy for science in Latin America and its dissemination to the public are inspirational for young scientists.
Professor Alicia.
Thank you, Professor Alicia Kowaltowski. Thank you very much. Could you join us here on stage? And congratulations.
Thank you.
Good evening, and thank you, L'Oréal UNESCO, for this glorious celebration of science. I am truly honored to be here today as a 2024 for Women in Science International Laureate. And I'm really excited about being able to highlight my favorite field of science, which is metabolism. Metabolism is much more than what makes us gain or lose weight. Metabolism is actually a fascinating collection of thousands of chemical reactions that build the molecules that make our bodies up and also transform energy so that we can function within these bodies. This field of science that's at the very basis of what life is has fascinated me for over 30 years. Science always brings new stuff to us, so it's never boring. And science is also never lonely. You can't be a scientist alone. It takes a village to make a scientist. So I have more people to thank than I could possibly do in the time that I have here. But I do have to thank my family because they never let me lose that curiosity that every child has and that I think really makes humans natural scientists. I also have to thank the people of the state of São Paulo for having provided to me free education from my high school years, my university, and my graduate years, and also for allowing me to be a scientist. I am in enormous debt to Professor Aníbal Versesi, who noticed my interest in science when I was only a first-year undergrad and took me into the field of metabolism, and also for always having the courage of doing internationally relevant science in the interior of Brazil. Of many other mentors that I had, the other one I want to highlight within this time is Professor O'Hara Augusto, who had the courage to join together more than a dozen top labs in order to make our field even stronger and even more internationally relevant. But most of all, I have to thank the people who actually do the science in my lab. Camille Caldeira da Silva Ortiz is our longtime lab manager, lab technician, lab mom. She's the heart and soul of our lab, and she is the secret of my academic success. Lab techs are often the unsung heroes of science, and I think they should get awards like this. In addition to her, there are dozens. Thank you. In addition to Camille, who is essential in the lab, there are dozens of former students and postdocs, young, interested, hardworking, curious people who went through the lab and actually did the experiments and actually made the discoveries. The truth is, this award isn't mine. This award is ours because I couldn't have done it without all these students. And I hope that we can, as a lab together, enjoy the laureate of this award for years to come. The truth is, science can't be done alone. Science requires many people, not only within individual labs, but different labs working together on different questions and adding to each other. And in that sense, I think science has a power that's even greater than the already great power of exploring the unknown and bringing new benefits to society. I think it has the power to bring together people of different origins, different body shapes, different skin colors in the same endeavor. And that's why I dream of a day in which everybody in the world will have the freedom to use the incredible metabolism of our brains and explore the universe together. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Professor. Thank you. Congratulations. Merci beaucoup, Professeur Alicia Kowaltowski.
Thank you very much. Congratulations. Let's take a look now at our second laureate. We're heading to Europe with Professor Geneviève Almouzni.
Just seeing life is fascinating. Even if you see when we are working on the xenopus system, when you fertilize an egg and you can see under your eyes the division, it's magic. I'm Geneviève Almouzni. I'm a biologist. I'm at the Institut Curie, and this is definitely someone that has been an important figure. Her spirit is here. When I come into the lab, through the garden with the roses, you just feel it. I love what I do, trying to understand what is happening in our nuclei, so in our cells, and I think this has been the red line in my work. My research topic relates to how DNA is packaged into the nucleus of a cell. What I want to achieve is to understand how this is done in different ways, in different cells, in particular during development and in disease state. Thanks to the fact that I've been working at the Institut Curie, where there's both a research center and a hospital. So I thought it was also really interesting to interact with the doctors and the pathologists in particular. And so at the beginning, the idea was that since I was looking at this very fundamental component of chromatin, it was to see whether that could help to make the distinction between normal cells and cells that go awry in the context of cancer. There's a situation where you're challenged as a woman when you have a child. There are some prejudices, but you live with it and you also think it's normal. I was in the US, I had my baby, was very little, and doing things as a pro in the lab. I also felt I could be judged if I wasn't doing things well, and I remember times where my son was sick, I hadn't slept at all, and then I had to give a talk, and I was thinking, oh my God, I'd have to look like I can do it. So I would go and cry in the restroom and then come out strong, I can do it. But, well, it's not always that easy. Future generation, it keeps you always young because you're meeting young people all the time, and also broaden your horizon with the diversity of people that you interact with. The next generation, I put all my hope onto them. So all my trainees will continue and do a very important thing, I'm sure.
Professor Geneviève Almouzni for Europe is from France. She's a molecular biologist, as you just heard. She's awarded for her seminal contribution to understand how DNA is packaged with proteins inside the cell nucleus. Her pioneering work in epigenetic has been instrumental to understand how cell identity is determined during normal development and disrupted in cancer. Her extraordinary success in advancing world-leading research, training the next generation of scientists, and promoting women in science are also inspirational.
Professeur Geneviève Almouzni, je vous en prie.
Congratulations, Professor Geneviève Almouzni. A round of applause, please.
Wow, it's impressive to be here with you, and I'm really, really moved to receive this International 2024 L'Oréal UNESCO Award for Women in Science for Europe. It's a real privilege to join this amazing lineup of women from all over the world who received this award since the inception of this program. This is an inspiration for many young women and for science without boundaries. I truly thank the jury presided by Brigitte Kiefer, who is herself a recipient of this award. I was thrilled that the jury chose to shine a light on how our genome is packaged into our cells, namely chromatin. Indeed, the way DNA is packaged within cells is fascinating. Advancing our knowledge in the biology of DNA packaging within cells, tissues, and organisms helps to understand what we are made of. I'd like to first thank my family, and foremost, my husband and my son, with their great sense of humor. That's a major asset in life. I learned a lot from many amazing people who established the foundation of our work. I'm grateful to all of them. My PhD in France enabled me to appreciate the power of frogs. As model organism for a French person, it makes sense. I also made many connections that proved so important to establish network. Back in France, with a CNRS position at the Institut Curie, I feel privileged to develop my curiosity, you see, with an amazing team of collaborators, PhD, postdocs from more than 30 different countries, I realized. They all taught me a lot with their diverse views, personalities, and lives. Walking every day through the Marie Curie's garden to reach the lab, I can smell her roses and think of her say, "Science is of a great beauty." Beauty is there in our work, in the diversity of people that we meet, physicists, chemists, immunologists, physicians. To share the beauty of science with people is so important. Finally, this prize has a special meaning for me. Its European dimension resonates with the timely importance of Europe. I'm a member of the European Scientific Council, where diversity is considered as an asset. It's an opportunity to share knowledge with people in the world and to stress that we need science to be prepared for the unexpected. I was once a little girl, like many others, with a dream. I strongly encourage future women scientists to pursue their dream. I leave you with these words: be yourself. Consider your failures as steps towards success. Follow your curiosity and do not hesitate to seek help. You are stronger with others at your side.
Thank you. Merci beaucoup, Professor.
Thank you very much, Professor Almouzni. Congratulations. Now for this third prize, which goes to the North American zone, let us discover our third laureate, Professor Nadia Jabado.
I like to say that I study the music of life, really, because the epigenome, it's a partition, and it's a partition that has to be sung and done at a very precise rhythm, otherwise it's cacophony. My name is Nadia Jabado. I'm a hematologist oncologist, so I treat kids with cancer, and brain tumor is one of the #1 killers today. Still is. It's really the first reason of death for children due to cancer. When I started, I really wanted to show distinct from adult and to uncover why, what was happening, why those tumors were forming. I was lucky when I first started doing research. PCR was such a huge breakthrough because it allowed the first human genome to be sequenced. So I took a bet and I said that if we sequence those tumors, using those tools, we'll be able to uncover what is animating them. And we found it. We found that really, based on the age, on the location, there was one specific mutation and another age and another location. And we showed that really they're associated with brain development, and it's brain development gone wrong. And then we showed after that their role, why those mutations, what is it that they do, how do they form cancer? They stop development, making those cells eternal, young, and very, very, very aggressive. So yes, we're going forward with that, not only in cancer to provide better treatments, but also for other diseases that really have like very bad prognosis and very bad quality of life, and helping those people. At least this is what I hope to do. I'm the first woman that got a university degree in my family, but women in my family that were pioneers at many levels and who always kind of told me, you're able to do it, just go, do what you want. I love research. Research brings me closure, it brings me answers. Answers to what? To puzzles I see in the clinic. In the clinic, there are treatments, and I've seen them with my eyes. My research allows me a solid hope that tomorrow it's going to be a breakthrough.
Professor Nadia Jabado for North America, coming from Canada, is a human geneticist. She's awarded for having revolutionized our comprehension of the genetic defects responsible for aggressive pediatric brain tumors. A seminal discovery of the first ever histone mutation in human disease, referred as to oncohistones, sparked a fundamental change in the cancer research sphere. Through her innovative research and effective leadership in establishing a global collaborative network, she has reshaped the medical approach to pediatric cancer, advancing both diagnostic capabilities and clinical treatments for young patients.
Professor Nadia Jabado, congratulations. Congratulations.
Bonsoir à tous. Good evening. Masal khair. I would like to start by thanking UNESCO and L'Oréal for the Women's Science Award and the members of the jury for selecting me as the laureates for North America. This award is for women, and I chose to share my journey, hopefully to inspire a few to follow in my path. I've been an immigrant most of my life, and I consider myself a citizen of planet Earth. And I was born in Lebanon, and my parents found the courage to flee civil war-ridden Beirut when I was a child, simply in our old Buick, a car that led us through the Middle East and Europe, and we ended up in France, a country that welcomed us and allowed me and my siblings to pursue our education and our dreams. I am forever grateful for and proud of my French citizenship. I always wanted to be a doctor. When I was doing medicine and studying medicine, I understood how important it was to do research. Why? To treat, I need to understand. To understand, I need science and research. Alain Fischer, my mentor, embodies how research, how science can improve life. And I'm so grateful that he pushed me to make science my companion. Research brings me hope when there is none today, soothes my failures, and makes me think of brighter tomorrow and brings brighter tomorrow. Canada and Quebec are my husband's homeland. I took a leap of faith to join them there, and I started from scratch my career at the Montreal Children's Hospital and McGill University. I looked around and chose to work in the field of pediatric brain tumors. Why? Because there was so much unmet needs, so much things that were unknown. And this is where science and what I was taught could make potentially a difference. With the help of mentors and collaborators, including a very dear one that's here today, we made a big revolution, understanding how those cancers arose, what animated them, and provided new means to treat them. More and more, we're finding solutions. And again, science is not isolation, it's a village. It's a village where all flags from across the world go together and work together in the same rhythm. We identified this histone mutation, the oncohistone that you've heard about. So what is oncohistone? What are histones? Histones are part of the epigenome. So what is the epigenome? The epigenome and our genetic information, our DNA, work together to make the symphony of life. If you think of our genetic information like notes of music, do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, si, they're meaningless unless you put them into a musical score, a partition that will make so many diverse music, from symphonies to rock, even to rap. And this is what the epigenome does. It puts sense, it makes our genetic information meaningful at the time it needs to be. And unfortunately for those kids and young adults with those histone mutations, this melody of life turns into cacophony. And those mutations stop them, make them young, forever young and aggressive. And we're finding means now to overcome what they can do. I could never have done what I've did without the unwavering support of my husband, Jacques-Philippe, my children, François, Yara, and Gina, my parents who are here with me today, and my best friends who became my family. I am so grateful to families and to patients, to collaborators across the world, and more especially to the people in my lab, my student, my research team, Damien, Nicoletta, Cathy, that make life beautiful, that makes everything possible and do all of the hard work that I am taking today credit for. Not me, them, and them every day. The way I view it, I think of Gibran and the Prophet, and I view myself as a solid arc from where their arrows will fly far and true. I would like to end by telling women across the world that I'm dedicating this award to you. Believe in yourself. Follow your passion. We are working to break the glass ceiling. Grow your wings and soar. We are not exceptions. We that succeed are not exceptions. We are the emerging rule.
Merci, Professor.
Thank you, Professor. Thank you very much for your words. Congratulations once again. We're now going to discover the next laureate, and we continue our travels. We go towards Asia and the Pacific, and I propose to discover, with images, our laureate, Professor Nieng Yan.
As a scientist, I study structural biology. Structural biology is simple. We try to understand life by seeing. We are very interested in the structures of proteins. I'm Ning Yan. I'm now a professor in Tsinghua University. We study the details of the proteins through electron microscope. Now we are able to study the detailed interaction between the drugs and their targeted proteins to atomic resolution. And based on this information, we try to develop novel drugs. What amazes me is how busy our proteins, our molecular machines are supporting us. They provide energy, they help build up muscles. When we can see them to atomic resolution, meaning that we can see each and every atom that together builds up this protein. It's amazing. There is always an increasing need for new drugs. So now our aim is to understand how they function and to develop novel drugs with higher efficacy, lower toxicity. I'm lucky enough, I have been able to work with a group of brilliant young scientists. So together, we were able to, for the first time, reveal what a sodium channel looks like. In retrospect, it seems that I have been destined to be a structural biologist. I have been driven by my curiosity at the very beginning. But now, somehow, I think, also driven by responsibility. I regard myself as a very lucky person. It is really a privilege to address my curiosity, so I'm grateful. And I also hope my research can benefit people. I do hope that we will be able to help the patients. If you do not have the enough role models in science, you may think, oh, girls are not for science, or science is not for girls. So I try to alter that situation. In retrospect, I have been growing in a very nurturing environment, and I have been surrounded by outstanding female scientists. I guess that's why I never doubted myself, the power of role models.
Professor Nieng Yan for Asia and the Pacific. Is from China and is a structural biologist. She's awarded for discovering the atomic structure of multiple membrane proteins that mediate traffic of ions and sugar across the cell membrane, which reveals principles governing membrane transport. Her exceptional research has informed multiple disorders like epilepsy and arrhythmia, and guided the treatment of pain syndrome. As a leading authority in her field, Dr. Yan inspires women scientists globally and is a strong advocate for gender equality in research and science education.
Professor Ning Yan, please join us on stage. Congratulations.
I'm deeply honored. I'm truly grateful to UNESCO, to the Fondation L'Oréal, and to all the jury members for this recognition. It is not just a testament to my own efforts, but also a recognition, a celebration of countless individuals who have supported and inspired me along this remarkable journey. I regard myself incredibly lucky to have had an inspiring role model at a young age. It is a chemistry teacher in high school. Her name is Miss Guan Yi. She's not very tall, with short gray hair and a pair of glasses. She always had a confident smile. She always told us, girls are good at science. Believe in yourself. And she was right. And another person who has inspired me throughout these years is Professor Shi Yigong, my PhD advisor. I still remember the first time I met him in Princeton University. We had a long conversation. 2 sentences from him have determined my odyssey in science. Ning, aim high. The sky is the limit. This spirit has really inspired me, and with this spirit, I decided to to work on the most challenging projects when I was a trainee in his lab, and later on when I established my own laboratory in Tsinghua University. Our research aims to reveal the atomic structures of membrane proteins that take sugars, calcium ions, and sodium ions into our cells. We try to find out how these proteins are regulated by different drugs. Based on this, we will be able to develop new drugs for pain management, and we hope to help address the opioid crisis. Aside from the discoveries, it is truly gratifying to witness the growth of young scientists in my lab. I'm so proud of my fabulous team members in the past 17 years. Without them, I would not be able to stand here today. Thank you for being here with me. And speaking of support, I'm truly, truly grateful to my family, to my beloved grandma, parents, my sister, and her family. In particular, my little niece suggested me to wear flats today because she wants me to feel comfortable anytime, to be myself. Thank you for being the pillars of my strength. Your unconditional love and support have made me who I am. Finally, I have a message to all the girls and everyone watching this. It can be challenging to be a female scientist, but not to the extent that anyone should be stopped. So, be brave. Be yourself. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Professor Nieng Yan. Thank you. Congratulations. Et je vais vous inviter.
I'm going to now invite you to discover the last laureate. Let's discover with images our last laureate for Africa and the Arab countries, Professor Emeritus Rose Ghana Fomban, Leke.
I really had a dream when I was a young scientist, and the dream was just to solve health problems in Africa, in the world. I am Emeritus Professor Rose Ghana Fomban Leke, retired professor from the Faculty of Medicine and the Biotechnology Center. What fascinates me in my science is just, the urge and the push to learn and to find answers, find solutions. So we need a change in paradigm completely. I had malaria, from the time I was little. I always tell the story where my mother, I'm sick, and my mother puts, a hot boiling pot, and I have to sit over that, a blanket over me, boiling pot had leaves. You came out of that and you felt better. But it was a way to understand why is this, and not affecting only me, but affecting Africa. Now there are 11 high burden countries in the world for malaria. And India is one, and the rest of them are in Africa. Last year, there were about 600,000 deaths, and children suffer a lot. The good news is that now We have 2 vaccines, which will really reduce mortality. It doesn't mean the children will not have malaria. It means it will be less severe because malaria kills them a lot. So we have saving lives is so important. I've come this far, and a lot of determination, strength, and thinking that health could be better. It's been a lot of hard work, a lot of sacrifice, going from country to country to country, and just advocacy, to the governments, to the people in the field, and understanding what is going on. When there is an obstacle here, the wall, you jump over it or you go around it. If a door closes, a window will open somewhere and beat all those obstacles. So to me, it's not dreaming anymore, but just thanking God for taking me from my youth where I had a dream to this point. For the younger ones also, you need mentorship. You need someone who can, hold your hand. I have younger female scientists that I try to bring up because you can see sometimes in the universities and research institutes, the men, it's a pyramid. And as you go up, there are no women. To me, it's really a legacy that I'm leaving, and I know these women can continue the work that I have been doing. My message to the next generation is that they should dream, work hard, shoot for the moon, and if they cannot get to the moon, they'll certainly be among the stars.
Professor Rose Leke for Africa and the Arab states is from Cameroon and an immunologist. She's awarded for her dedicated leadership, outstanding research, and pioneering efforts to improve outcomes of pregnancy-associated malaria, to support polio eradication, and improve immunization in Africa, as well as efforts to improve on the career path of young scientists. Dr. Leke's national, regional, and global influence has profoundly impacted public health in her native Cameroon and across Africa. Her achievements position her as a role model, leading educator and advocate for young women scientists.
Toutes nos félicitations, professeur.
Congratulations, Professor Emeritus Rose Ghana from Leke. Congratulations. You can give her a hand again, ladies and gentlemen.
Je vous en prie.
Good evening, everyone. First of all, I'd just like to thank the partnership that exists between L'Oréal and UNESCO, a laudable partnership that brings all of us together today, and that for the years have been taking care of all these women in science. You're doing great. Please, let's give them a hand before I continue. I also like to thank the members of the jury that, selected me beside this wonderful women I've spent a few days with here.
It's been great. And as I stand before you all today, profoundly grateful, deeply honored to accept this prestigious L'Oréal UNESCO International Award for Women in Science, a submission that was really initiated by the Cameroon Academy of Sciences and Professor Mbacha Mise, who's Dean of the College, and I'm so grateful for him being here today. I want to acknowledge the extraordinary journey that has brought me to where I am today. It is one that has been marked by unwavering support of countless individuals, institutions, but beginning with my beloved parents. My parents whose visionary guidance, their belief in me and willingness to defy traditional norms by investing in the education of their daughter that sowed the seeds of curiosity and learning that have propelled me on this remarkable path. My journey has also been illuminated by the support of my family. My husband is here present. My children, their spouses, and all the children that are here with me, and the grandchildren, and tremendous support and guidance from family and friends, the clergy, women's church, and other groups, all who stood by my side as I balanced my career and family life, and realized my purpose to address global health disparities. I extend my heartfelt gratitude to the educators who have shaped my journey. I must also express my appreciation to the government of Cameroon, represented here by the ambassador, Cameroon ambassador to France, Monsieur Kumu, and all his delegation that have come here today. The University of Yaoundé 1, the Institute of Medical Research and Studies of Medicinal Plants, for their pivotal roles in my academic and professional development. And a debt of gratitude goes to Dr. Diane Taylor, Diane, and her dedicated team of research, and all members of the multidisciplinary research team that I led in Cameroon. I thank you all, and I know you are all watching and listening. Our true collaboration with Diane and funding from NIID in our both research teams and others enriched my academic journey, leading to groundbreaking contributions in the field of malaria and training of a large number of students over the years. And a big thank you to David Gold and all my friends at the Global Health Strategies. Now to the polio teams in WHO Afro and WHO headquarters, to the Global Polio Eradication Initiative partners working with governments and the communities in all the countries of the region, I extend my heartfelt appreciation. It was a lot of work to get to this certification of the African region, but we all did it, and I was very happy to be chairing the African Regional Certification Commission to do that declaration. I'd also like to acknowledge Dr. Pedro Alonso and Professor Dan Worth, whose respective stewardship of the Global Malaria Program and Harvard's Defeating Malaria Initiative have been instrumental in our quest to control and to rethink malaria. Gavi's mission is to see all children immunized, and I was appointed chair of the Gavi Independent Review Committee in December 2022, just when applications were being received from countries on the RTS new malaria vaccine. A dream come true for me. The long-awaited vaccine will save many lives as the quest for malaria eradication takes a rightful place. And for Gavi, thank you, Lindsay, for being here for Gavi. The landscape of science in Cameroon, particularly for women scientists, has really been transformed by the Higher Women Consortium. Celine and Stephanie are here. This is a mentorship program which I co-founded, and this organization is dedicated to helping spark interest in science among girls in Cameroon. So my message now to the next generation is to continue the journey towards a brighter future for our women and young girls in the scientific arena, striving for excellence in all the work that we do. This award really does symbolize our collective commitment to striving for a world where good health knows no boundaries, where women take their rightful place at any table. I thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor. Merci beaucoup.
Thank you very much, Professor. Congratulations once again. President of the jury and Madam General Director of UNESCO, Chairman of L'Oréal, could I invite you again, please, to step forward? Professor Rose Kelly from Ghana, thank you very much. As with science, there is another space where women still today have to fight against being entirely invisible, and that space is in sports. France, as you know, is hosting this year the Olympic and Paralympic Games, and the founder of the Games, Pierre de Coubertin, never ceased wanting to forbid Olympic competitions for women. He said, "We believe that Olympic Games must be reserved for men. A female Olympiad would be uninteresting and unsightly." In 1922, under the impulsion of the French swimmer Alice Milliat, women's games were organized, but officially women were only able to take part in the Olympics in 1928. That is barely 100 years ago. Our invited guest this evening is the embodiment of these two dimensions, science, the world of science and the world of sports. She's also the embodiment of our engagement towards women in exile. The Fondation L'Oréal and UNESCO are continuing to support refugee scientists thanks to the Collège de France's Pause program. We have also invited, she has also been invited as champion of UNESCO for education for girls and women. Would you please give a warm welcome to Dr. Nadia Nadim.
Welcome, Doctor.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Azoulay, Mr. Agon. Pleasure being here. I am deeply honored to address you today. Professor Almouzni, Professor Jabado, Professor Kowaltowski, Professor Leke, and Professor Yan. Let me congratulate you wholeheartedly on receiving this prestigious award. Your difficult journeys have been so inspiring to me because you dedicated yourself and your talents to changing lives through science. The L'Oréal UNESCO for Women in Science International Awards acknowledge very important issues that influenced my life and shaped who I am today. When I was asked to deliver this speech, I'll admit I felt a twinge of nerves. Speaking in front of such an esteemed audience at UNESCO celebrating the achievement of these amazing women in science is quite the honor. So I've decided to share my story because it's a story of hope and resilience. My journey, like many others, begins with the stories of those who came before us. In my case, it started with my beautiful mother. Born in Afghanistan at a time when education for girls was a rarity, at the age of only 5 years, she had to beg her grandmother to take her to school and allow her to attend classes. All this was done behind her back of her father, my grandfather, who was often out for work 3 months of the time. This cruel principal had to guess her age from her teeth because Before her, no one in her family had any kind of education to hold birth records. She went on becoming a school principal herself. I was born when my mother was in her 20s, also in the beautiful country of Afghanistan, where mountains and Paris intertwine with nature's rock beauty. From Genghis Khan to Alexander the Great, history has unfolded against Afghanistan's vibrant culture and resilient landscapes. Unfortunately, I didn't get to experience any of that. I only experienced war. At the time of my birth, my country had already been enduring a long war with obscurantism knocking at its door. When I was 10 years, my father, a general in the Afghan army, was executed by the Taliban. Losing my father under such tragic circumstances at such a young age was devastating. This tragedy shattered my family and prompted us to flee Afghanistan for safety in Denmark, the country that adopted me. Starting a new life as a refugee in a new country, adapting to a new culture and learning a new language, well, saying it was overwhelming would be an understatement. My mother, a woman of strong principles, bore the burden of raising my siblings and I with dignity, developing our inner strength, surrounding us with love, and creating a safe environment for our growth. We were given a second chance, and I wouldn't let it slip. The cards in my hand had already been dealt, and looking at these cards, my chances of having a normal life, much less a successful life, seemed so far away. I had two choices: give up and let life's misery become an excuse for me, or fight. My mom was a warrior, a fighter, and she obviously raised me the same way. I started playing in a refugee camp, and very soon started playing football in a refugee camp, and very soon its power became clear to me. A power that was making me grow every day. At the same time, I knew that succeeding at school was clear as my safest way out. I had to work twice as hard. I had to catch up. I had to find a way to manage my studies and playing football at the highest level. When I was 18, I finally got my Danish citizenship. Soon after, I became the first player from non-Danish background to present Denmark at the international level. I have played over 100 caps for the Danish national team. I played for some of the best teams around the world: Manchester City, Portland Thorns in the US, Paris Saint-Germain here in Paris, and now I'm representing AC Milan in Italy. Football is where I get all my vital energy from the hard work, dedication, team spirit, and sisterhood. But my favorite part is the competition. The chase that pushes your boundaries every single day. And of course, there's the adrenaline. The feelings and the sensations, they are to describe and actually even harder to find anywhere else. Nevertheless, this wasn't enough. I also love science. At school, I enjoyed learning math and biology. I loved our session in labs, experimenting and understanding chemistry, physics, and the human body. It fascinates me. So I also wanted to become a surgeon. Yes, I know, some might think very ambitious. My life mantra is dream big. For someone who did not endure the life that my family and I endured, it's very difficult to understand how uncertainty, precarity, and collective and personal tragedies give you gratefulness for life's gifts. Grief and hardship strengthen you. Obstacles become your usual landscape. Overcoming them becomes a natural behavior pattern. It's all about the perspective and, of course, the love for life. Hardship can make you stronger if you rise above it. And that's exactly what I decided to do. I worked day and night, leading a double life as an elite athlete and as a student. And on January 14, 2022, I graduated as a medical doctor from Aarhus University while playing a full-time professional footballer. Thank you. Throughout all these years, I've never forgotten where I came from, and I've never ceased to pursue my commitments. In 2019, I became UNESCO champion for girls and women's education. As such, I support UNESCO in their important work it's doing for girls and women's education and empowerment. Whenever I have time, I spend it on volunteer work. I try to use my platform, my voice, to make a difference. My message today is addressed to all the women in the world. Rise up and own your life. The women and girls in my birth country, Afghanistan, are denied the rights to study and to exist. I rose up and owned my life to inspire them and help them to resist. All of us here should be driving and improving change that empowers girls and women to study, build their lives, shape their present and future, and embrace their freedom. My battle will continue until they have the same right as I do, until every child has access to education and sport. And so, as I stand before you as a footballer, a doctor, a person who speaks 10 languages, a UNESCO champion for girls and women's education, and most importantly, a proud daughter. I carry with me the lessons and legacies of those who came before me. My mother's story is woven into the fabric of my own, reminding me of the possibilities that arise when we dare to defy expectations and chart our own path. Her desires to learn and her courage to secretly attend school against her father's wishes, eventually becoming a beacon of hope and inspiration for her family, laid the groundwork for my inspiration. It instilled in me a deep appreciation for the transformative power of education and science. A power that transforms not only yourself, but your surroundings for generations to come, allowing you to change the world for the better. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Nadia Nadim. Bravo. Toutes nos
Thank you very much, Nadia Nadim. Thank you very much for sharing with us. A particularly inspiring story. We have been privileged to meet exceptional women this evening who, by their force, their abnegation, their resilience, have allowed science to advance. But behind all of these representatives, who are very visible, it is up to all of us, each and every one of us, together to fight these battles. The world needs independent women, needs women who are free, and they must be celebrated. And because of that, ladies and gentlemen, I suggest that we close the ceremony by inviting the laureates, Madame Audrey Azoulay, Monsieur Jean-Paul Agon, to join us here on the stage for a photo of this 26th edition of the International L'Oréal UNESCO for Women in Science Award ceremony. And I suggest that once again we shout loudly from the rooftops that women can count on our engagement of each and every one of us.
When the night has come and the land is dark and the moon is the only light we'll see. No, I won't be afraid. No, I won't be afraid. Just as long as you stand by me. So darling, darling, stand by me. Oh, stand. stand by me. Stand by me. Yeah. If the sky that we look upon should tumble and fall, all the mountains should crumble to the sea. I won't cry, I won't cry, no, I won't shed a tear, just as long as you stand by me. So darling, darling, stand by me. Oh, stand by me. Who would you stand by me? Stand by me. Stand by me. So darling, darling, stand by me. Oh, stand by me. Who would you stand by me? Stand by me. Stand by me. Stand by me. Wherever you will go, would you stand by me? Oh, stand by me. Oh, would you stand by me? Stand by me. 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 Stand by me.
Mesdames et messieurs,
Ladies and gentlemen, please, a thunder of applause for our laureates and for the exceptional jury for this 26th award-winning ceremony for the L'Oréal Foundation and UNESCO. Science, Women in Science. Thank you very much to each and every one of us. Thank you for these profound messages that we heard tonight and that shows us to what extent we still have a long way to go, but such a long way has been covered. Thank you very much to everyone. Thank you to the choir for Stand By Me. Ladies and gentlemen, this ceremony is now over. And I would invite you to join us for a cocktail, which is to be found on the left as you leave the auditorium, and perhaps just one last round of applause for our laureates. Thank you very much.
merci à toutes et tous, merci pour cette soirée. Toutes nos félicitations une nouvelle fois.